Good afternoon, Madame Hébert, Ms. Danis, Madame Lafleur, faculty, students, graduates, and distinguished guests. It was the beginning of April when the saga of creating this special speech for the class of 2011 began. When Madame Hébert told me that the class of 2011 selected me to give their speech, many thoughts went through my mind. Just seconds after she told me the news, I was very honored and excited, and then I thought, is this really happening? Why do I ask myself this question? You see, I received this news at the beginning of April. April to many study students means the month of Career Day, Community Service Day, the month of the infamous House Hustle. For this grade 11 class, April means Prank Miss Lewis month. The class of 2011 was one of my very first classes that I taught back in 2005 as a McGill student teacher. So I'm very excited and truly honored to be given the opportunity 6 years later to speak to you today during this very special time in your life. Les 5e secondaires cette année forment un groupe unique, créatif, intelligent, drôle et original. Voici quelques faits importants à savoir sur cette classe. Elles peuvent créer notre propre vocabulaire, faire exploser de la poudre pour bébé dans les autobus. Elles se déplacent en meute. Cette classe très particulière est bien capable de penser par elle-même. On retrouve parmi les 24 membres de ce groupe des chanteuses, musiciens, photographes, athlètes, guitaristes, danseuses mexicaines, coiffeuses et même certains qui font de sirop d'érable. My favorite memories of this year's class include listening to Andrea Brownstein call the entire school population Pookie, trying to figure out the many facial expressions of Laura Hallward and Anna Kanitas, having 20 seconds at the BCS tournament to throw on Patty Johnson's hockey uniform over her basketball uniform, being fascinated with Miriam Gadd's exciting life and the many different ways she was going to take over the world. I will never forget spilling my TCBY yogurt all over my pants after the shock of hearing Eleni Machaco sing during the Cats presentation. To my surprise, Eleni is a mezzo-soprano. As her beautiful voice hit a higher tone without my knowledge, the TCBY yogurt poured faster and faster onto my lap. As I thought, who is this kid? I was about to find out who this extremely talented singer was behind the carefully designed makeup and the wild, wild wig, when I was kindly escorted out of my seat by Carlos and banned from the performance hall for the rest of the week. I will especially miss taking the time during my recess duty to admire the wonderful artistic work of Madison Allrod. Watching this young woman throughout the years evolve from a very shy and quiet grade 8 student to a talented and creative artist 3 years later, performing as Professor Chumley in a pre-production of Harvey, made me think how truly blessed I am to have the opportunity to watch not just Madison, but all of you evolve into talented young women who will surely make a difference in life after this study. Last but definitely not least is the horrifying experience of the pink black detector that they got from a dentist at Career Day. After a long day completing community service with my grade 8 class, I was tired and as always, I was starving. Making my way through the cafeteria, I bumped into Alexa Cricht, who was so excited to show me this new candy they bought at the tuck shop. Well, I took this new candy like it was the last piece of food on earth, and I put it in my mouth. After doing this, I glanced over and saw the entire grade 11 class laughing hysterically at me. The terrible tasting pink black detector landed from my mouth onto my hands, and the chemicals from the cleaning products during my community service trip turned both my hands into pink. So thanks to our grade 11 class later that evening, to spare myself from embarrassment, I had to teach my first fitness class at the YMCA in brown leather gloves. Funny memories aside, I thought of the many different experiences I had as a student to share with you. In 1998, I graduated from a public school not too far from the study. As a high school senior student, I was a competitive young woman. Those of you who had me as a coach can attest to this. However, I was a bashful grade 7 student. You would have never picked me as a future teacher or as a future coach who can stand in front of strong-willed, independent-minded young women and tell them what to do and how to do it. Overcoming shyness was what I had to learn back then. In fact, the principles and the values that I've learned from that time came from the experiences that I had as a high school student. The lessons from those experiences stuck with me and became the compass that I followed for 13 years. I am a believer that life lessons are learned through experiences. So class of 2011, I will share with you the two most important things that I've learned through experience since graduating from high school. The first thing I've learned over the years is that winning and being successful is a byproduct. I needed to focus on the product, and that is the process. I remember playing a basketball game against Lester B. Pearson. They were our rivals at the time, and it was my final year in high school. So I was under pressure to perform, and I wanted to play in Cégep at the next level, so I had to perform. I remember being in the room and saying, this is it, we have to be number one, we have to win this game, it's the final game. And I put so much pressure on myself that I went out on the court, and it was probably my worst game of my high school career. I missed most of my shots, I was seconds too slow on defense, but I did a great job at looking up at the scoreboard. With 5 minutes left in the game, naturally my coach took me off the court, and I sat with 5 minutes watching my team play, and it was my last year. So after the game, I asked my coach, I said, what can I do to improve, because I want to play in the next level? And he looked at me and he said, Lewis, you need to stop worrying about the future and keep your eyes on the ball. So I was really worried, and I was so focused that I forgot how to play the game. I took this advice from my coach, and I learned how to apply it in my life experience. I cannot ever take back that final game we lost, but I have the opportunity to tell you this. Class of 2011, we live in a society obsessed with being number one. I challenge you not to follow the pack. Follow the process rather than the prize. While you're traveling through your journey, doing everything you can to make sure that you are on the right track in your future education and in your future careers, take that time to stop, evaluate, make movements towards improvements, and this will surely lead you into the path of success. Keep your standards high and do the absolute best that you are capable. Do those things necessary to bring forth your personal best, and no matter where you are in your graduation or life after graduation, don't forget your roots. Your roots are from the study. Study women don't worry over competition. They make hard work their passion. They learn not only to work hard, but to work smart throughout the process. They are determined, and they make the competition worry about them. My second message to you is to try your best not to let the fear of making mistakes stop you from achieving the goals that you have in life. I did that. I let the fear of making mistakes get to me through high school, through Cégep, and until university. I bumped into a favorite professor of mine, and he introduced me to an amazing speech written by Sir Ken Robinson. And Sir Ken Robinson is a retired professor from England. He did an excellent speech on the importance of creativity in education. And there's one part in the speech that I want to share with you, and the first one is about a 6-year-old girl who sat in the back of a class. And the teacher was fascinated that day because she usually doesn't listen, but on this day she did. The teacher walks in the back and says, "What are you drawing?" And she was dribbling something weird on the paper. And the teacher said, "What are you drawing?" And she said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher says, "Well, not many people know really what God looks like." And she says, "In 5 minutes they will." Second story is about Sir Ken Robinson's 4-year-old son. He was in a play called Nativity, and if most of you remember that play, there's a part where 3 kings bear gifts. And the first gift is the gift of gold, the second gift is the gift of frankincense, and the third gift is the gift of myrrh. Well, here came the day where his sons and his friends had to come out on stage. So that day, they must have had their wires crossed behind the stage, because one kid comes out and he says, "I bring you gold." And the second boy comes out and says, "I bring you myrrh." And his son comes out and says, "Frank sent this." Both these stories tell us that when we don't know something as children, we take a chance at it. We weren't really afraid of being wrong back then. Sir Robinson's message was not that being wrong is being creative. He says that if you're not prepared to make mistakes in your life, you will never end up doing anything original. So my message to you is not to be afraid of making mistakes, and just to stop and take in the experiences that life has to offer you. I believe that taking leadership for all things that you want to accomplish in your life is largely learned. Certainly not everyone can lead, nor is every leader destined for glory. But class of 2011, all of you has a potential far beyond what you think possible. I encourage you to dedicate the time to develop your potential, to be the best that you can be in life. If you can achieve this, I assure you that you will be successful. J'aimerais aussi partager avec vous quelques conseils avant que vous nous quittez pour entreprendre une nouvelle étape de votre vie. Ne vous inquiétez pas du futur et concentrez-vous sur le présent. N'ayez pas peur de faire des erreurs et prendre des risques dans notre vie. Finalement, sous-estimez jamais le pouvoir d'un sourire sur le monde autour de vous. On behalf of our study family class of 2011, we wish you good luck in all your endeavors. We are proud of the successful journey you traveled at the study, and we are proud of the woman you have become.